What's up, people? And welcome back to the Feelings First Facts Later podcast with Nathan Mitchell and Cristina.
Hey.
We took a week off. I'm sure if you are a religious listener, then you noticed that we were not here last Thursday. And that is because it was spring break. And we had a house full of children, adults, all sorts of crazy.
Yeah,
It was just too much to get an episode out. Primarily because this room that we're in now
turns into a
guest room.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So where we are sitting right now would have been a king size mattress, and everything would be pushed out of the way, making it damn near impossible to do any sort of recording. Along with the house being full of energy, all the energy.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
That's a nice way to put it.
Nonstop. Nonstop energy. So that was our first big, I guess you could say, full house endeavor with the baby.
Yeah.
Which it actually wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. She actually did a really good job.
It was also just a week.
It was just a week, but I thought her trying to get sleep was going to be impossible, because of just how loud the boys get and all the in and out and everyone.
Yeah, but there was a lot of all day long, like,
yeah.
Like it took. We made it happen, but it took a lot of effort.
It didn't take long for that to get old.
What?
Like the whole okay, be quiet. All right,
yeah.
She's asleep. All right, it's time to be quiet. But it didn't matter.
Yeah. I think maybe a little bit.
Maybe who knows? But in the moment, it seemed like, okay, we are not being heard.
No. Well, children don't know what quiet means. First of all,
this is true.
Yeah.
But
and I'm kind of glad it happened that way, because I think you think that my daughter's the loudest child on earth, but it's all children.
No, Solo, she is the loudest person on the planet. Solo. See, my children are loud because it's a group effort. It's all three of them. They hype each other up.
No, they Solo are loud.
I don't know.
They're tiny people who sound like elephants going up and down stairs.
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
All right.
I will say this. I didn't hear any extra refrigerator door slamming.
She's a slammer, but she doesn't stomp down the stairs.
Oh, okay. You give her way too much credit. You forget I'm the one who's down there sleeping on the couch. I hear it. I hear fee, fi, fo, fum. I know when someone's about to come in the kitchen and try to sneak something out of the pantry. I hear it coming from the first step at the top. It's like psychic, but it's not, because I just have 2 ears, and I can also see the glass of water
trembling.
Shake. Yeah, as she's coming down. But if you're watching this on video and you're wondering why we look like we're a little bit on the homely side as far as like what we're wearing, we're locked out of our room.
Okay.
And not really locked out of the room, but we
basically
just can't go in the room because we put the baby down to sleep and we go, oh shit, we 100% forgot to get clothes for the podcast, and it just was not worth going back in there. So
no. You get what you get.
Yeah. You whenever we came home and we put on to do cooking and the chores and you're lucky you don't see spit up on one of our shirts.
Only because they're white. Yeah.
There it is. That's what you do. If you're rocking a baby, wear a white t-shirt. That way the spit up does not show. Black, not a good idea. Not a good idea at all. So speaking of Allure, our daughter, by the way, I don't know if have we ever said her name on a microphone?
Maybe.
Okay.
I don't think we've introduced her to the world like that, but we may have said her name.
Okay. All right. Well, that's her name. I was showing pictures of her at work the other day. To coworkers. To who else?
What work?
The
where?
Work that I do.
I know, babe, but where?
Doesn't matter where.
Yes.
At a rehab center. How about that? They wanted to know what we planned on, which I don't understand why it mattered, but I just thought it was an interesting question. If she gets older, what is she going to identify as? Black or Puerto Rican or what?
You said they said white.
Well, yeah, they did say white.
Why?
I don't know. Maybe it's because you're a pink-toed Puerto Rican. You ever think about that?
Was it a white person asking?
Nope. Black as a spade.
I don't understand the question.
Do you need it in a sentence?
No, I don't understand. She's going to identify as what she is.
Well,
which is half Puerto Rican, half black.
So I think.
Why is that confusing?
So I think where it came from is this person in particular, they put a big emphasis on race. For whatever reason, a lot of their discussions.
Like in their life?
Yeah, it seems like a lot of their discussions have to do with race or some sort of prejudice or whatever it may be, whether it be educational or just paranoia. Okay. That's how this person is. So maybe that's where this came from. But they were reading an article where mixed kids typically identify with one or another as opposed to saying mixed, which I think that might even be offensive now. Mixed, I don't know.
What is not offensive anymore?
If it's offensive, Christ. I'm not saying it to be offensive. I'm saying it because I just don't.
People who are mixed, what do you call yourselves?
Biracial. Is that okay? Is that better?
What if it's more than two?
Well, this is true.
So what are we doing?
I don't know.
You're not saying a mutt. Something fucking
right.
crazy.
That'd be foul.
Mixed.
Right.
You're a mixture
race.
of things.
Right.
Why is that offensive?
Maybe people still consider it to be a dog thing,
Jesus Christ.
Like mixed breed. Listen, I don't know, but all I know is that when I say it, I don't mean anything offensive by it. But I think I do remember reading something saying that mixed
You're probably
is
right. Yeah.
Offensive, but by whom? Who's creating these rules? You see what I'm saying?
That's exhausting.
A lot of times when I hear these rules, I go, I don't think it's by the person that's, especially if you're being heard and being seen.
Right.
It's like, okay, well.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, they're identifying as one or the other as opposed to both of them, which I guess for certain people it makes sense depending on what side you fall closer to. You see what I'm saying?
Or what's more convenient.
Or, well, right. So that was my running joke. My running joke to her would be maybe she can identify whatever she can get the most benefits from
in whatever situation she's in.
Right,
yeah.
right. So, I mean, if she looks more Puerto Rican than black and there's something out there for her.
So far, she isn't looking more black. So I don't know how that's going to pan out.
No.
Yeah.
Which 2 out of 3 of or 2 out of 4 of my children look like black children.
Yes.
All 3 of my boys all have my complexion.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say my youngest boy might be a tad bit darker,
yeah,
but only because he has like that. I have more of a red undertone, and he has more of a brownish undertone to him.
And he also lives outside.
Right?
Yeah.
But his features, everything else about him, would lean more towards the Brazilian side. Like his hair is straighter. And he has his features are a little bit lighter, for lack of better words. While my other 2 boys, they're lighter than me by a tad bit lighter than me. Barely.
Yeah.
We're probably
not,
on the same
honestly.
page.
Yeah.
But, well, obviously Jackson isn't mixed, but Marcus, if you look at Marcus, you would think that he's just a
light-skinned black boy.
Right? And then now here she is right now, but this is still an early start. I mean, she has to commit her first crime. Her credit score's got to drop a little bit, and then she'll look a little bit more,
She is very light
for now.
Yeah,
but she's got you beat right now.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if when I look at her, she looks so.
Her thighs have you beat.
Oh.
Her thighs have you beat. Her hands haven't caught up yet, but her thighs, yeah, they have you beat. But those are like, I don't know, those are.
Yeah.
But you would think with it being chunkier, it would stretch everything out.
Right.
And it'll be.
I guess we'll see. Right.
Yeah.
Get her. We'll see what happens this summer.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like she's going to be growing up in a time where none of that's going to matter.
Right.
Right. Because even right now, I mean, it really doesn't. I mean, it matters, but it's mattering less and less and less.
I don't know anyone. Okay. I don't know anyone who's mixed with not white. That it's like that they have to decide. I don't know. Like
decide what they are.
Yeah. Like I know people mixed with black and a certain Hispanic. And they'll say both. Like my dad's black, my mom's whatever. Like I've never heard that to be like a weird thing. I don't know if maybe that's a thing when you're mixed with white. possibly.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So from what I know, like let's say you're Black and Puerto Rican, but from the people that I know, and you look closer to a darker skin complexion, they usually just say they're Black, or they'll just and then you'll find out later on that, oh no, I'm Black and Puerto Rican or Black and Dominican, or I mean, which is pretty much Black. But I guess it all just depends on where you fall,
right?
And then,
or yeah, and culturally, maybe even you might identify with one more than the other, so that's what you lean into. I don't know.
I don't know. It just it it kind of blew me away, only because it's like how are we still here, but we're still here, and it seems as if as we become less engaged in other global activities, right? Because there's so much, but besides our economy kind of doing its weird thing right now, and you know, some of the things that are happening in-house, like this most recent school shooting and things like that. Besides those tragedies, because we're not at active war with someone else across the pond, or, you know, in below us, right? It seems as if we're putting unnecessary focus on race because there's no other activity going on to keep us occupied. It's almost like if you have a autoimmune disease like sickle cell, right? If you live in a country, from what I understand, if you live in a country where there's malaria, then your sickle cell isn't attacking itself. Like that trait isn't attacking itself because it's too busy attacking
what it's
other
supposed
things,
to be doing,
right?
yeah.
The malaria and things like that, from what I understand, right? But when you are taken out of that climate and you're somewhere where it doesn't have to fight something outside of your system, then that's when it becomes more of an autoimmune disease that then becomes a problem. So, which is why you see, from what I understand again, which is why you see more African Americans suffer from that whenever they have that trait in them, versus if that trait was in them and they were back in their motherland, right? So it's almost like we're doing the same thing because we're not focused on attacking other, you know, countries or
fighting off other things like attacking you.
100%. Then now it's you have to have this internal battle, just like Colin Kaepernick. He was recently back in the media. I'm guessing he's going on a press run. I think he has some sort of book or some sort of something releasing, and he was talking about how his parents, which he was adopted by a white family, he was saying that they were being racist towards him when it came to his hair preference, how he wanted to wear his hair, right? And I guess he wanted to wear it in the afro, and they kind of frowned upon that, and they told him that he shouldn't wear the afro, primarily because people are going to look at you a certain way and yada, yada, yada. And I don't know his parents, so I don't know if they were actually racist or not, or if this is just a way where he could just throw his people under the bridge in order to get clicks and to get people to pay attention to him to make money, which be kind of screwed up. Unless they're in on it, then be kind of screwed up. But
or maybe there's more to it than just that.
Maybe. Yeah. But when I saw it, my knee-jerk reaction was like, really? This is like, because my parents said the same shit.
Right.
And both my parents could grow afros, and both my parents had afros back in the 60s and 70s. But in the 90s, it was a problem.
Right.
In the 90s, me going out with an afro when I wanted to grow my hair out, when I first had braids when I was younger.
Yeah.
It was, if you do that, you know what comes with that. If you do that, they're going to look at you like a thug. If you do that and you're walking around with baggy pants and a tall T-shirt, people are going to see you this way, and you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't do that. You shouldn't do that, until I rebelled enough. And then they were like, you know what? Fine, whatever. This is what you want to do. This is what you want to do. But even with it, and now you see to this day, even with it, when I wear my afro out, there's something to be said from not my mother, but my
your dad
father,
was just uneasy about it
because he's an old school guy, right? Everything's
so
about
what are you gonna do with that hair?
Right?
What's happening?
But I remember that with not just hair, but I remember that with everything, right? Like I remember that when I remember when I was graduating school for the career that I'm in now, and right around that graduation time, I decided to get this half sleeve tattoo. And I remember when I did it, people were like, "Why'd you do that? You're not gonna be able to get a job. That was dumb. You shouldn't have done that." And I'm thinking like, what? Really? I think I'll be okay. And I've never had an issue with getting a job.
Yeah.
Right. Even now, I have a nose ring. I have a beard. When I grew the beard out, it was an issue when I first grew the beard out.
Yeah, you were telling me about that.
Right. And then now I have longer hair. So it's, you hear these things, and maybe somewhere that I don't understand, and I guess if I don't see it, then it doesn't matter to me. But maybe somewhere there has been judgment passed my way that has limited me from getting something or someone having a conversation with me because they were prejudging me.
But I guess you've never missed it.
But I never missed it. So it's never been a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I do know that things like tattoos and piercings and afros or longer hair on people, especially Black people, were different back in the late 90s, early 2000s.
And even maybe in some areas today still, it's possible.
Well, we've seen it. I can't remember how many years ago it was, but there was one year where it seemed like Black people wearing their natural hair was a big problem, right?
It was.
You saw where schools were banning afros because they were a distraction and yada yada yada. And then you had that one coach that had the kid on the wrestling team chop his locks off because of, for whatever reason, and he went along and he did it. Yeah. But it was like a year where that was an issue. But I say all that to say, when I first saw this, it was like, why are we still here? Why are we still doing this? Yes, I know racism is a thing, and yes, I know it exists and it shouldn't, and we should be able to have these conversations and hope to get past these things. However, the way sometimes these conversations are brought on, it doesn't seem like it's coming from a place of trying to find a resolution. It's coming from a place of, hey, I'm trying to get clicks and I'm trying to cause this debate. And
I guess what would be the resolution?
What, as far as his parents being racist or just racism in general?
Well, him specifically, like, okay, like, so what? Like,
that's my thing was. It's like, and again, my knee jerk reaction was like, I have Black parents, and my parents said the same shit.
Yeah,
you're not special,
right? Exactly.
Just because you were raised by, it might have been weirder because they didn't know how to deal with an afro, and I could see where that might be a strange thing.
And chances are he wasn't surrounded by a lot of people wearing afros, and like it was probably just for his own sake, unfortunately.
Right. Because watch this. That just gave me a little flashback. Remember the year that the boys were at? I think it was last year, and I was cutting all their hair in the patio.
Yeah, last summer.
So I had no problem cutting Jackson's and Marcus's hair because it's similar to mine, and I know exactly how to cut it. But when I had to attack Victor's hair, I didn't know what to do.
Yeah, I remember.
I'm like, what how do I?
Yeah, you were out
this?
there the longest.
Yeah, what do I do with it? Trying to figure it out, and then had to watch YouTube videos and figure out how to, cut it without chopping it all the way off. Because if I attacked it with just clippers like I would my own hair or my other two sons, it doesn't work that way. And it's probably the same thing I'm going to have to deal with if I'm ever fooling around with Alora's hair. If her hair, obviously it's not going to be like mine from what we see now.
Right.
But, yeah, thank God for her. But I could see a world where you're dealing with someone that is, and my children are of a different culture. Well, I guess they are. Culturally, they're different than me as far as their genetic makeup, obviously.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But, I mean, they're still within my culture because they're with me. But I can see a world where when you're trying to manage that without understanding how all that works, then it could get real squirrely. But I mean, does that really make you a racist?
I don't think so.
And
that's why I said maybe there's more.
Maybe there's more to the story, and I don't know the parents. But I'm so sick of that word getting thrown around as much as it does, only because I feel like when it is thrown around recklessly like that, it devalues the word, because that word actually means something, right? And it could cause a lot of problems and ruin a lot of lives and make things harder for certain people. And I don't think it's racist if you tell someone that they shouldn't wear an afro because it might have people look at them wrong. I think that's sound advice. Yeah. Because perception is everything, you know?
Right.
And it is what it is. But it does suck that we live in a country where if you rock an afro, then it means that. Same with locks. You know, locks are the same thing now, where you see so many rappers and, you know, everyone doing foul things wearing locks. Your knee-jerk reaction when you see locks now might be, oh, this guy doesn't mean well. Now, in Ohio, I didn't see a lot of locks when I lived there. I think now it's more of a popular thing just because it's become more of a countrywide thing for young Black Americans. But when I was growing up, there weren't really people with locks, so locks were kind of like dirty to us. You see what I'm saying?
Really?
But down here, locks are everywhere.
Yeah, and I feel like it's always been that way.
For you all?
That I can remember.
Yeah, see, no, it wasn't like that in Cleveland. It was more, everyone rocked a Caesar, or at the time where long hair was a thing. It was
I guess maybe not everybody had locks, but it wasn't an uncommon thing.
I might have known 3 people that I went to high school with that had locks. Because if you had long hair, it was braids or box braids. But other than that, it was a Caesar, waves. That was the move. But since we're kind of on that same race kind of thing, I did see an article, and this is absolutely silly, but it appears that there is a new racist thing that people have to look out for, and it's called digital blackface. Yes, digital blackface. And what that looks like is, if you are in a conversation with someone by way of text message or DM or whatever it may be, anything where you can share memes, GIFs, or whatever to express yourself. To express yourself, which we often do. Like today, you sent something to me, and what did I do? I made like a funny face, but it was the
we do
Iron
it often.
Giant.
Yeah.
Everyone does it. It's like this thing. It's like a way where you can be animated and
and it's so much more fun sometimes.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. But now it appears that for some people, it is against the rules for anyone other than, well, in this particular article, it was Black, but anyone other than Black using Black memes.
Who's patrolling this?
And again, I think this goes back to what we were talking about with the whole mixed statement. Jesus. It's like, if someone sent me an emoji, and not emoji, but a meme or a GIF or whatever you want to call it. What's the difference? Are GIFs or memes?
I think GIFs have movement.
And a meme is just
a still, a picture. Okay. Yeah.
So
with words sometimes, but yeah.
They were focusing on the biggest GIF or meme, because I think it could have gone both ways with this one.
Okay.
With the Black woman saying, "Hey, ain't nobody got time for that," right? So if a white person sends that, then that is their way of making fun of Black people and yada yada yada, and
it's a great GIF.
It's a great GIF.
I mean,
now to play devil's advocate, I do think that there might be a space where people are using it inappropriately to make fun and going, look how ignorant.
But people are going to do that regardless. So what the fuck? Exactly. What are we doing?
But for the most part, if you're doing it, you're expressing yourself.
Right.
Like the one that I like to use, which is a white girl, which I'm guessing I'm promoting digital whiteface. I mean, because it's got to work both ways, right? It can't. Right. It can't just be one-sided. If it's one-sided, that's racist, right? And not in just the throwing it out there loosely, but if you're saying that one person can do something that the other person can't do, then that's not good. That's actually bad, and that's not progressive. That is regressive. Is that a word? Mm-hmm. Okay, regressive. We should look that up. If not, I'm cutting this out. But I like to use the one where the white girl from that show Awkward, where she goes, "You're welcome."
You never sent me that one.
I have sent it to you.
Who do you send that one to?
I've sent it to you. Why do you see? Why do you do this? This is what you do. This is what you do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Why you have me questioning this basic ass word like regressive?
This is what happens when you get on the microphone and you start saying shit.
Yeah, but then I'm like, yes, that's correct. And now I'm looking it up.
You should just start keeping a laptop on you, and then as I say things, just fact check it real quick.
And I guess for some, I'll just tell you I did, even though I know the answer.
What do you mean?
Like regressive. Like,
okay.
You were fine.
Okay. But was it the way I was using? Okay. Because that's embarrassing too. When someone uses a word and they're using it.
Oh, I was like, what happened the other day?
Was it redacted? Or no. You're talking about Boosie saying
Well, I was talking about what you said originally, but
redacted.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. We had someone write something to us. Well, by us, I mean Cristina directly, but it's for us, right? And one of the words that was used in that sentence was redacted. It was not used properly at all.
No, not even close. But I'm still trying to figure out what was.
But everything they were trying about to use. That message was very serious. And you could tell that they were trying to use words to make them sound like they're a little bit.
But
anywho,
but the last one you were talking about that I sent you on Instagram, Boosie. That was hilarious.
What did he say?
Economy.
The economy. That's pretty bad. But digital blackface is now the next thing. You know what? Shout out to America. United States. Time is so good right now. Other than this economy crisis that's happening that people aren't even aware of for the most part.
Yeah.
People don't even understand what's happening. Because I mean, yeah. But it's just life is so good right now that we have time for the bullshit. And that's what it is. That's what it is. And I think that just goes to show, like, you know when someone has too much time on their hands when they actually have time. Because you hear it all the time, right? I don't have time for the bullshit. It's like, oh, well, what does that mean? This is what this means.
Yeah, right here. We're living in it right now.
When you have real life things going on, you don't have time to sweat this dumb shit.
No.
But this is what it is. And all for what?
Yeah.
And I really wonder if this is really an issue or if it's just something to get people to click on and spend time reading, because it is such a hot button thing, to care about. Because if it's not race, then it's trans or anti Asian hate or anti Semitism. And again, not to say that these things don't happen. I'm not saying that these things don't happen and they're not real, but we tend to narrow in on anything that's divisive, right? Because it's an easy click. Easy click.
I wonder who started that digital blackface. Like, where'd they even come from? And who's even, like, keeping track of that? Like, what? It's so stupid. And who's really offended by that? Would that bother you if you had a white friend who sent you a black gift?
I would think it's first of all, when I see things like that, I don't think of it. I don't see the race. I just see what you're trying to express.
Right, exactly.
So if you send me for ain't nobody got time for that.
And then okay, let's be fair. Black people are super expressive. Like, that it is what it is. And like,
I'm sure she ain't complaining. Does she get royalties for that?
I'm not sure.
Or any payout for that?
Hopefully.
I don't know how that works.
I don't know how that. I feel like it's probably a no.
Really?
Because how do you even? Anybody can create that and throw it out in the internet. Like, what? Unless like a company uses it, then maybe she has an argument to say, "Hey, you're making money off of that." But how would she?
Didn't we see? Or maybe the videos they were just talking about how these people became viral or like they blew up on the internet.
That sounds
but
really
all
familiar.
those gifts at the time that we were seeing, like the one where the dude that we thought was Dexter.
Yeah, and it wasn't.
Then it wasn't
Dexter.
No,
I didn't see that with you because you told me about that.
Okay,
Maybe you told me.
But there was another one that I always saw was Eddie Murphy for a little bit. It was the black dude, and he's
I know that one.
You know what I'm talking
Mm-hmm.
about? But they don't get royalty checks or anything like that for it.
But how? From where?
I don't know.
From where? Like I said, maybe if like a company's using that and making money off of it, but
well, I don't know.
Yeah.
If she came out and she said something, and I'm only using her as an example, the woman that was.
That show was hilarious.
Yeah, talking about the fire and all, because it was a fire, right?
Yeah.
Ain't nobody got time for that, right? If she came out and she was like, "Hey, look, that's offensive. I appear to be really ignorant at that moment, and people are making fun of me, and yada yada yada."
Any of that
then
happened.
okay, maybe we should be a little bit more sensitive.
Do you think that she would feel that way about herself?
No, she probably thinks I'm popping.
Yeah.
Aren't you her?
Yeah. She probably loves that.
Listen,
shit.
She better be at Comic-Cons. Signing
She's
autographs,
fucking famous.
Get in the camera.
And it never gets old.
No,
and it will never die because that's been around for like over a decade at this point.
So if she doesn't make any money off of it and she's not monetizing herself, then I'm sure someone somewhere reached out to her and was like, "Hey, look,
right,
we had this opportunity for you."
Yeah.
Even if it's like a cameo in a movie or something. Anybody got time for that?
We need to look more into that.
Yeah. We find out that like she's upside down on her mortgage and living her worst life. That'd be awful. But
I don't know why that reminds me of. I saw an interview that Future was giving someone, and he was talking about how he doesn't wear the same thing twice.
Mm-hmm.
And what he does is he goes back to his hood and he gives it out to people.
Good for him.
So he said, everybody in his hood is wearing Gucci and Balenciaga and all this stuff. And I'm like, really? That's what we're doing for people?
Yeah. That's what
really?
That's what niggas want. That's what niggas want.
Maybe.
Watch this. Remember when the stimulus checks came out?
Yeah.
And remember what the Millennium Mall looked like?
Yeah, it was fucking popping.
And
those lines.
Which lines were?
Gucci was the one straight out the mall.
Right.
First and for Louis V, like all of them.
Right. You had landlords not getting a dime. They were not getting a dime.
Oh God.
Can you imagine knocking on the door to get your money? Like, hey,
And you got fucking.
I know these checks came
Gucci
in,
slides.
and they answer with some Gucci slides and a Louis belt, telling you they ain't got it.
Yeah.
Damn. That's what niggas want. So you damn right. What you gonna give them? You gonna give me some water? You gonna give me some a laptop?
Like do something productive for the community. Gucci, I can't.
The streets know what they want. And he knows what they want.
Evidently he knows.
Shout out to Future. You were trying to shame him just now. That's racist.
I think that's crazy. No, well, listen, I guess I don't know
crazy,
anything.
but hey, listen. If that's what they want, that's what they want.
I guess. Yeah.
Nothing better than a nigger trinket.
Yeah, he said his whole hood. You go to his hood, everybody has Gucci and Balenciaga.
There it is. It's decked out. Can you imagine being the one guy that like you're just not Future size?
Right.
You're just trying to make it work because, damn, I gotta make this work.
I guess if people are smart, though, they're selling it. Like, you know what I mean? And this belonged to Future?
Oh, yeah. Or, no, you wear it.
Or you wear it.
Now that's going to get you, that's clout.
I guess.
What? Sell it? No, I'm going to keep it. I'm going to do my thing with it. Right? But the two articles that I read about issues with trans, there was a girls basketball team in Vermont.
Okay.
And they are playing a tournament, right? Because it's that time of the year. They did not want to play against a team that had a trans player on it.
You said this was like a Christian
girls school, and so their basketball team. They didn't want to play with that team, and because they didn't want to play with the team, then they were kicked out of the league and could not participate in the road to winning the championship. So it's like,
but you know what? These are the sacrifices that need to be made, and this is what it looks like when you stand up for something you truly believe in. That's the only way. If people really want to see change in that way, that they don't agree with it and it's unfair, this is what needs to happen.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's not going to be pretty, and it's not going to be fair, because it's not fair.
No, it's not
It's
fair.
not, and I don't even say that respectfully. It's not fair.
Well, no. Well, and the thing that I don't think is fair is now they can't play in the championship, but it also goes to the state that we're in now, where everything's about virtue signaling. So
Right.
if they didn't do the
Correct.
drastic move of removing them from the league, then it looks like that you support their
Now, what are they being phobic?
homophobic,
Yeah,
transphobic,
because
rhetoric.
it's not fair.
And I think it's valid.
Yeah.
It's valid because this isn't my fight, so just one of those things where I go, well, but as someone that has a daughter now, it would upset me to see her upset knowing that she worked her butt off, and then now you're second place to a team that had an advantage.
Let's call it what it is.
Provided that this person, it's an advantage.
It is.
It is what it is. And
why are we gonna pretend like it's not?
It is. And it doesn't mean that I'm saying it's a bad thing or anything like that. It's just an advantage. And I think it would be unfair if I had to look at my daughter and see that she wasn't able to win something because someone else had an advantage that she did not have.
But I feel like then if it's gonna happen that way, and chances are you aren't gonna win, at least like stand your ground. And if that means you can't play, then you can't fucking play. But it's like, at least you stood your ground. We're not okay with this. We're not going to participate. Do what you got to do. Versus having lost to that team. And what would have...
Right.
You're not winning literally or figuratively anyway.
Right. Now, what I did find interesting is that it seemed to be like there was a counter article that was released around the same time. And it was highlighting a fifth grade girls basketball team that won, I'm using tournament or league or whatever you want to call it, but they won that league against the boys' fifth grade basketball team, but they were denied the trophy because
but they played together.
So I think what happened is it looked like it was it looked as if it was like a fun kind of, what do you want to call it, like scrimmage or just what word am I looking for? A word where you just use whenever you're just like not really a pickup game. Anyway, it appeared that it wasn't an official game.
Okay.
Right. But they had this fifth grade girls team go against the best boys team.
Same grade,
fifth grade. And they beat this boys team. And they felt that they should have had the trophy because they were the better team for that bracket, even though it was different
So
sexes.
It was a complaint saying the girls should have gotten a trophy?
So this article was highlighting that the girls should have got the trophy because they won fair and square over this boys team that clearly was not the better team. So when I saw this article, I go, uh-oh. And the reason why I go, uh-oh, is because if they're trying to make an argument that boys and girls can be just as competitive and have just as equal grounding against one another, this would be the perfect way to be on the side of, hey, just because there's the trans player, just because this trans player was born a male and has testosterone or whatever flowing through the body, just because of that doesn't mean that the girls couldn't have beaten this person, because now you have this all girls team beating this all boys team. Now, the one thing that I would counter argue with that would be, if you have children and you've ever seen a fifth grade girl and a fifth grade boy, they are not one and the same thing.
No.
Not at all.
No.
So I can easily see a world where a team of fifth grade girls would demolish a team of fifth grade boys.
Yeah, they're taller.
Because they're
taller.
Bigger. Yeah.
Yeah.
What can you do? How can you score on one of them?
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? There's no way my son isn't a small guy.
No.
But he's nowhere near your daughter. only because it's the time right now.
Right.
And right now,
and if she was athletic and good at basketball, there might be something there between the two of them where it's just like she might beat him just off that because she's taller. Yeah.
And watch this. Even her friends, they're going through that transformation and they're becoming women.
Right.
Right. He's not there yet.
No.
That's not his time yet. So yeah, I can see a world where fifth grade girls can demolish because it's just the height difference, and I would imagine there's strength. I haven't seen how they play with one another.
Yeah.
But maybe if they're bigger, they might be a little bit stronger than them. For now, but in the next 2 years, it's not going to be that way.
Right.
It's going to be a completely different world where both of them are in middle school, and then going into high school. Then it's where you're going to see that gap close up, and then you're going to see my son excel past her as far as physically goes.
Yeah.
But when I read that article, I just go, ugh, I see what they're doing here.
Yeah, I don't.
They're trying to create a counter argument for
it's not the same thing.
Something that isn't that.
No.
But this is the world we live in right now.
Right.
And I say that not necessarily in a bad way, but I say that in a good way almost, because we have time for all of this. We have time. Because if you look at the rest of the world and what's going on, it's not pretty.
Yeah.
The conflict between Russia and Ukraine, that's not pretty. Different thing. What you read an article that the mines in Africa. What was it in the Congo? Cobalt. There was
wherever they mine cobalt.
Yeah.
Mines collapsing. It looked crazy.
Mines collapsing.
And apparently it's like a common thing. Yeah. And hundreds of people like scrambling. It looked crazy.
That's scary.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine waking up. You're not in your body, but you're in the body of someone that's going through that shit.
Like that's life.
And you had to live that life.
Yeah.
And that's your life. You wake up and you're a slave to this system that is mining a resource for people that are wealthier than you to enjoy their cell phones, to enjoy their electric vehicles, to enjoy anything that requires a lithium battery, right? And maybe they don't know. Maybe they don't know what it's for. And I'm guessing maybe that would be the best tool that you can use against those people, is to never let them know what life could look like for you.
Yeah.
So you think that this is everyone's life. If this is everyone's plight, this is what we all go through. This is what it looks like to be a human being.
True.
That way you don't have people rebelling and trying to escape to live a more fruitful life, right? And then you come back to this. So you spend a day doing that, and you come back to this, wild. And you go, holy shit. None of this.
Yeah.
It's meaningless.
We don't even know struggle.
What are you talking about? Digital blackface. You all have a problem with that? What's happening right now?
Right. I mean, we're in it, and I think it's crazy. So yeah, I can imagine.
Holy. Right, because I'm sure there are plenty of people here in the U.S. that have all sorts of wild things going on in their life of their own, and they're looking like, what?
You're worried about what? Yeah, exactly.
You're worried about what meme I sent?
Yeah.
What's happening?
Right.
Ugh. Or even and I don't want to stay on this topic, but even with this most recent school shooting, where you have parents that have to bury their children, they don't care that it was a trans person that did it. Someone did it, but because I've seen articles where they're now debating about this trans person that did the shooting. You see what I'm saying? But
what
it's
are
like
they debating?
Well, just the typical stuff.
Okay.
They have to. That goes on with trans, and was it a man that did it? Was it a woman that did it? And yada, yada, yada. And, people are, up in arms about that part of it. But it's like, you have parents that have to now bury their children.
Yeah.
They don't give a shit what that person looked like. That person had a gun and they did what they did, and now they have to
Yeah.
suffer the consequences. So I say all that to say, like, even within the realm of something that we can all kind of be up in arms about and upset about, to include the parents. So it's all like, not that it's all of our problem, but we all kind of feel some type of way about it.
Yeah.
But then you have these parents that are dealing with the ultimate sacrifice,
Yeah.
the ultimate
Their
heartbreak, the
babies.
ultimate, holy shit. And they're like, oh, you all have time for that? Like, no.
Yeah.
Or
Fucked
and
up.
maybe I got it all wrong. Maybe they do have time for it too. But I would imagine that at this point, I
What
know
does
as
it
a
even
parent,
matter?
I
Yeah.
don't. Yeah, who, what you're arguing about? No, it happened.
Right.
Whoever,
Mm-hmm.
like, what? Let's talk about this instead of that. But here we are.
Ugh.
Here we are. So let's tie it back into dating before we get out of here. So
How are you gonna tie that into dating?
not this, but it's just going to be, it's not going to be a smooth segue in that. I guess it is, because it's kind of like outrage culture. So we're kind of on the same page.
Okay.
So I made the mistake of clicking on an article that had to do with toxic dating culture.
Okay.
Diet.
Okay.
Diet. Toxic diet culture.
Okay.
And how it relates to dating with people that have to suffer the consequences of this toxic diet culture that we live in now. This article sparked up because of the Ozempic,
Mm-hmm.
that new fancy
Fly.
drug that everyone's using to lose weight. But it's primarily for people with
Isn't that
diabetes.
isn't that the diabetic one? Yeah.
It's primarily for people that are diabetic, and it just so happens to have this kind of like not only fat burning, but a hunger suppression
Okay.
aspect to it,
Mhm.
almost like Adderall or Coke, right? It's
Yeah.
like you're not worried
not
about
hungry.
eating.
Yeah.
You're good to go. You're solid.
Yeah.
Let's keep on moving in this direction here. But this is the new drug that people are essentially abusing,
Yeah.
because a lot of
it's not
people are
the
using it
intention.
that are
Yeah.
not diabetics. They're using it in order to help lose weight. And this article was highlighting the plight that now people that are larger that do not have access to this and or do not want to participate in this because they are happy about their body and they take pride in their body.
Okay.
And they feel that the culture / society that we're in today has not only put them in a position to where life is harder for them, but has even put, I guess you could say, healthier women or more fit women in a position where they're living an unhealthier lifestyle with themselves and with the people around them because they're trying to meet this quote unquote image that's out there.
None of this sounds new to me.
No,
Like,
this is old shit remixed and
right.
brought back out.
None of what you said sounds new to me.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I guess we're using different things
Mhm.
now, and it's more out there now because
100%.
that's
Because-
the world we live in today. But none of this is new.
Right. Because
Toxic
before it
dieting
was
has been-
Ozempic, it was
It's been remember hydroxycut and all those fucking
yeah.
things giving people heart attacks
hydroxycut,
and
anything
shit.
with a
We used to
ephedrine.
pop those in high school all the time.
Mhm.
Like, it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Fucking
Anything
starve
with
yourself
ephedrine,
for days before prom.
Adderall. That's what
Yeah.
we were doing.
The
Right.
fuck?
It was
Yeah.
the same thing. And it's funny because you and I, we had a conversation about this off air about just how like different cultures attack different ideologies of weight. For instance,
Yeah.
you were talking about how and I guess most of the United States would see it this way because of just how numbers work.
Yeah.
But you were talking about how Hollywood has played such a big role for you when you were
When
in
I was
high school
growing up,
and the people around you, because the image was to look like what
It
more
was
like
just thin. Like, not to say you couldn't have a body, but like you wanted to be skinny.
mhm.
You wanted to be skinny, period. Whatever that
For
looked like for
women.
you. Right. Like, it wasn't in the main media of like having curves and being voluptuous. That wasn't like a thing when you looked at magazines for the most part when I was growing up that you saw. It was like you want to be skinny.
Right.
You want to look skinny in a bikini and skinny in all the things.
Because you spent more time watching movies and TV shows with white people that
I guess,
looked
yeah.
like that.
Right,
Because
I
that
suppose,
was the image.
yeah.
Meanwhile, I grew up a little bit different. I grew up watching more black films than anything, black
Yeah.
television shows. I didn't really care about Sports Illustrated or
Right.
Maxim magazine or what those women look like. I mean, that was like a cool thing to look at just because they were beautiful women, but they weren't things that I necessarily cared about. I'm not a woman, obviously, so I don't know what the girls that I grew up with, I'm not sure how they felt, but it appeared that it was always ass and titties and being thicker. Like the whole skinny thing wasn't a thing for us.
I guess.
So I was in this Smooth magazine. I was in, to King. I was looking at ass
even with
watchers.
ass and titties though, like you still want to be skinny. You still don't want to have a stomach. You still like even with that.
Well,
yeah.
You
know what I'm saying? Like women always want to be thin. It doesn't mean you can't have curves, but you still have to be skinny in the right places. It's always been that way.
But I know it's a running joke, but it's a real thing. But I know that what I used to consider thick, like, damn, she's thick. Like that's what I want. White boys would say she's fat.
Right.
But
okay,
I never saw fat. I would see thick. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But a good thing. Because it wasn't like you had a belly. Yes, the goal wasn't to have a belly spilling over. Like you wanted a flat stomach, but you wanted nice thighs. You wanted ass. Cellulite, that wasn't a problem. No one was mad at cellulite. Like, nah. We're good. As long as flat stomach, we're cool with. Like that's just it's the nature of the beast because we want that ass. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Want titties. So, even if it came with, your arms were a little bit bigger. Right. All right, well, that's just, I mean, you gotta, it just is what it is. But, so yeah, no, I see what you're saying. Yes, I'm sure that they had, and by they, I mean the black girls that I grew up with, I'm sure that they had images that they wanted to keep up with that probably stressed them out. Because if you weren't that, if you were a thin black girl, then people would say you're shaped like a white girl. Like, you ain't got no
I could
booty,
see that.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Ass back. Like we had all the names for a pancake butt. You don't want to be that.
Right.
Or no titties. Well, titties weren't really that wasn't like that wasn't a deal breaker. If you had ass and no titties, no one was mad about that. That was okay.
Yeah, I guess if you have to pick and that's your preference, then you wouldn't care.
Yeah, no ass was a bigger problem than anything. But I only brought that up because just culturally, the difference is there. Like what the body image was that you were going for. But these particular women in this article, because this article led to an interview that took place on some daytime television shows, a black woman, I can't remember what it was, but she had some pretty big women on the show with her. They were easily upper 200s, lower 300-pound, could have been more, I don't know, but they were heavy women. And these women were talking about how they suffer in the dating scene today because of the requirements that males put on them.
I would like to know when bigger women have had it easy on the dating scene.
Yeah.
That's a real question I have.
Yeah,
if we're talking about how it's hard today, when has it been easy?
Well, here's the thing, and this is where people get it fucked up about the dating scene, is that, and I want to preface this by saying this is not the dating expert podcast anymore. It originally started off that way, but now we're more leaning into what long-term relationships should look like, only because that's where we are. I haven't been on the dating scene in years, so I really don't know shit from shit. So don't let our advice be what it is, because I don't know what it looks like to be on a dating app. But if it's anything like what I'm accustomed to or what I remember, or even just what I know about just people in general, right? You don't get to determine what the value is of yourself. That's for everybody else to determine. So if it's not trendy for you and the way you look, no matter what it is,
Yeah.
whether you're
If you're not
whether
in
you're
demand.
skinny, whether
Yeah.
you're fat, or whether you're thick, big titties, no titties, big ass, no ass. If you have long hair, short hair, blonde hair, or whatever it is, or whatever you're into, whatever you're reading, or nerds, or whatever it may be, if you're not that thing, especially if you're not that thing for that particular person, you're not going to win.
Right.
So it would be in your best interest if you're out there on the dating scene. And this is not my way of saying be anything other than yourself, because I do think it is important to be yourself at all times. But if you want to, I guess you could say, quote unquote, win, right, in the dating world, or get what you're looking for, then there is going to be some sort of adaptation that needs to take place in order for you to overcome whatever obstacle it is. So if you are a bigger person and you're trying to target people that aren't into bigger people, which might be people that are like fit, like if you're a bigger person and you're into someone fit, your chances of finding someone might not be the greatest.
But is that wrong? You know what I mean?
That's not wrong for the other person.
I agree. I don't think that's wrong.
But where these conversations went was, it was harder on them because of the stress that America puts on being fit and being, have a nice tight body and being engaged in activities that kept you in shape. And they were saying that was making life harder for them because they were running out of options, because people are leaning more towards that as opposed to them. But I mean, but if that's what society calls for and that's what people want, I mean, that's
right.
What can you do? And I think it's, and I could be wrong, but I think it's less of a shame on you. It's not to shame you and point the fingers at you and say you're doing something wrong, I don't want you. It's just to say, hey, I like this better, and this is what I want to go for, whether or not they deserve it or not. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
Because those males that are going for
right. That's
women,
an important point, I think.
that might be more towards the fitness side or whatever it may be.
A lot of those
because they're
men,
shooting a shot there, they might not deserve that.
Right.
So they would have to do whatever they need to do in order for that type of woman to then want them back.
Right.
And that's how it works. It's an exchange of I want you, you want me.
Right.
And there's no two ways about it.
Right.
So, these women found themselves in a position where even though they were happy with themselves and they enjoyed everything about their body and they loved their body and they didn't think anything was wrong with them, they weren't getting the attention that they felt that they deserved. And now the easiest thing to do would be to blame it on this whole toxic diet culture that we're in today. Right. Now, I do think that it is unhealthy that our society pushes people in the direction of doing things like an Ozempic or any other pill or whatever it may be in order to
But we've always
lose
been
weight
extreme,
quick, fast, and hurry.
even
But that's
with
what we
these fucking
do.
diets.
But that's what we
remember?
do.
Like, it's always been that way. It just looked differently.
And here's the thing. Here's the thing now that's different from today than it was years ago.
Okay.
Today, we know that there are side effects. Today, we know that this is not going to be good. It's all transparent.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Before, when we were growing up, they were putting out hydroxycut, but because all this shit was brand new, no one really knew the consequences. And there certainly wasn't any social media or podcasting or anything like that to even talk about it. You just took it.
Mm-hmm.
And it made you feel good, and you were losing weight.
Yeah.
And if not, then your heart rate was high and you were just all over the place and you were able to get a good workout in. So no one gave a shit.
Yeah.
Right. But now, because it's so transparent and everything's out on the table, I think now more than anything, there aren't victims. Or there are a lot fewer victims than there were back in the day.
Or people just don't care.
And that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's because you don't give a fuck.
No.
So even if you're reading the disclaimer, hey, this...
Because taking medication that's intended to be taken by diabetics can't be good for you if you're not diabetic.
Right.
In the long term. What is that doing to like your blood sugar?
your pancreas,
all of the
and
things in the long run.
right, how your body produces
But
insulin,
people don't give a fuck.
right.
Like I can take a pill,
Mhm.
or this is what we've been waiting for.
Mhm.
I don't care. Like, I'm gonna be skinny. Yeah, but
I-
it's always been that way,
Right.
though.
But I can't remember if it was Ozempic or it was another pill, but I was listening to a podcast and they were talking about a diet pill. And
There's like a shot too, I think. There's a pill and then a shot, because I was having a conversation with somebody recently and they were gonna attempt one first, I think the pill, and then if not, there was a shot. And this is a discussion they had with their PCP.
good.
Like it
If you want to do it,
Yeah.
do it. Whatever.
And it was like, yeah, there's no problem. It's great. And I know, like it's all good.
I want to say there was some pill or some shot that I was listening to a podcast and they were talking about. It might have been Ozempic, I'm not sure, but they were talking about how this pill helps you lose weight, or this shot helps you lose weight, but the weight that you're losing will be muscle tissue. It's not all fat.
Mhm.
It could be bone density. It could be your connective tissue. So
Yeah.
it's a lot of shit that you're losing
Important shit.
in order to
Yeah.
look good in
But
your
people
dress or
don't
picture.
care.
Exactly.
Though.
But,
Yeah.
but here's the thing. And where I say that there are fewer victims is because it's out there for you to see. And if you don't give a shit and you just want to look good for the gram, or you want to look good for everyone around you, and you don't
Yeah.
care about those other things, or you feel like you have a good grasp on how to take that and manage those negative side effects, like for instance, maybe adding in more resistance training in order to help maintain your bone density, or
You know where I
adding
have a
in
problem
whatever
with
it may be.
this now that we're talking about it? I don't like that this is being prescribed to people for those purposes. That bothers me.
Oh,
Because
okay,
before
okay,
it's like
okay.
you pick up hydroxycut anywhere. It wasn't
I see what you're
prescribed
saying.
by a doctor. This is fucking irresponsible. Like now that we're talking more about it,
I
I'm
see
like,
what you're
this is
saying.
fucking crazy. With all those side effects and you're saying it's okay for people to
Mm.
take it, that's fucked up. I think that's a step further than we've done before.
Okay, so you're saying because it's a pill that's designed for diabetics,
Yeah.
if you walk into your PCP's office
And they
you
tell
have
you
no
it's
issues
fine,
and you have no
correct.
issues with diabetes,
Yeah.
and then they tell you it's fine and you take it for weight loss purposes only, and they allow you to take it.
Because
Yeah, I can see
doctors,
where
if your
that
doctor's telling you, how many things do doctors tell you are okay, and that's all you have to hear? It's just coming from your doctor's mouth, and you just believe it.
could be. Right.
Like that's unfair. So that, in a way, I could kind of be like, okay, well, people could still be victims because if your doctor's saying it's okay, happens.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
You know what? I'm gonna down the hill and say that if you are that victim because you didn't do your own research and you listen to your doctor, then that's your problem. And
Yeah.
then that's where I would go survival of the fittest, because it's out there. You could read it. It's all out there. If you have any
I guess.
questions,
Well, that's with anything your
do it.
doctor tells you is
and if you
okay.
decide to trust what your doctor
Yeah.
says because they're doctors, and you don't take into consideration that they're human beings and they're human beings that make money off of something, that,
Yeah, they're
that this is
getting
a capitalist
kickbacks. Yeah,
society,
yeah.
that there might be kickbacks involved, that there's incentives to
Mhm.
push these medications
And
to
that they
you,
don't have all the answers.
and that they don't have
Yeah.
all the answers, then if you're going to be okay with subscribing to that
Yeah.
idea and you're going to go for it and something happens to you, that is 2023's version of natural selection. It's on you.
Yeah.
So I know that's cutthroat to say, and I know that it sucks.
Well,
for
I don't
people to hear.
disagree with you, but I'm just saying I could understand the angle of people. But to your point, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there was a time where people didn't care about how to properly identify berries on trees. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And they ate the wrong berry and done.
Right.
And it was like, well, I tried to teach that idiot and he didn't want to learn, or
Oh,
he
yeah.
wasn't paying attention. Well, it is what it is. This is just what it looks like today. It looks
Mhm.
like people taking pills and and just be clear, we don't know what the fuck we're talking about when it comes to these this bill, Ozempic.
Yeah.
We're just using this
Yeah.
as an example because I want to say that this article was sparked off of that,
Okay.
and we don't know how safe or how unsafe it is,
Yeah.
and we don't know what it looks like for a doctor to prescribe the pill
Right.
to someone. If it does, we don't fucking know. Do your research yourself.
Right.
But I only brought this up because it seems that this is yet another excuse that people are using in order to justify why they're having a hard time finding a partner. And if you do suffer with issues with your weight, maybe the best thing isn't to be prideful and to pretend that everything's okay and be happy and yada yada yada. Not to say that you can't be overweight and be happy. I'm not saying that. But if it now affects your relationship,
I guess
with
yeah,
people,
you need to just own that and not, I don't know, not blame the world. Like,
or just keep on cutting your nose to spite your face. I mean, I don't know what to tell you, but something's got to give, you know?
yeah.
Or you wait your turn and you find someone that accepts you for you, but then don't blame the rest of the world for
Right.
why you can't get what you want. And this is not just an attack on people that are overweight. This is just for anyone in general that's out there dating. You know, if you find yourself in positions where, you know, I'm going to be me and I'm going to be true to this.
Right. And if that's not working out for you,
not working out for you, then
you might need to,
then,
yeah.
It just is. But it's where we are. But before we get out of here, I do want to talk about what the next few episodes are going to look like. Cristina and I have been going through therapy, as we've been doing.
Why did you say it like that?
Therapy. Actually, I like therapy.
I like therapy, you say.
But in one of our therapy sessions, we were recommended to pick this book up. This book is 8 Rules of Love by Jay Shetty.
I think it's Shetty.
Shetty.
I think it's just how it looks.
Oh, yeah. Why did I think one of those was I?
I don't know.
It's nigga shit.
Probably.
Just reading it out there. We'll do another take. You ready? This is 8 Rules of Love by Jay Shetty. Did I do it?
You said Shetty.
What is it?
It's just Shetty, I think, babe.
How about this?
Why are you
You
overcomplicating it?
say it. You say
Say it again.
I'll hit the book. 8 Rules of Love by
Jay Shetty.
There it is. How to find it, keep it, and let it go. So far, I've read 7 rules.
You're looking at where my little bookmark is.
Yeah, I'm looking at your bookmark right now, and she's not even halfway done yet. But
I'm with a baby all day long.
Okay, all right. But what we plan on doing is kind of doing a bit of a book discussion, and we're gonna do it a little bit differently. And probably we'll do like 1 rule per episode without flooding.
Yeah, I guess whatever, because we're not going to really just talk about it. We're going to do it like how it's kind of applied to us or how we're navigating it. So maybe it'll be more than 1 rule at a time. I don't know.
Okay.
Guess
we'll
see what happens.
The way I originally thought it up would just be we'll just throw out 1 rule per episode.
Okay. Because maybe there would be enough conversation for, or not enough. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. We'll figure it out. But not going to spoil the book. I do recommend that people go out there and pick up the book. And this book is great for anyone going through any part of life, whether it be loving yourself, getting into a relationship,
coming out of a relationship, ending a relationship,
whatever it may be. This is a pretty good pickup. And so we are going to discuss how it has opened up, I guess you could say, opened up a brand new perspective on how we view some of the things that we've been going through in our relationship, which is why we were recommended this book.
Yeah.
I think there are 2 rules in particular that were really geared for us. But
that the therapist had in mind.
Oh yeah. She was like, oh, these jokers need to read this shit now. But yep. So the next few episodes, we are going to be breaking that down, and we're going to be getting a little bit more personal and sharing this book with you all. But in the meantime, if you are interested in reading, if you can read, go ahead and pick that book up, or just get the audio version, whatever.
That's what you're doing.
No, I read it. You haven't noticed that it's been in different places because you haven't been picking up the book. And I didn't even call you out on that. I try to let it go.
You know what? You've been putting it back in the same place. You're a liar because it's been in the same places.
Not all the time.
Not all the
Where's
How many
it now?
times?
How did it get up here? How did it get up here? Are you reading it up here?
Now that I know that you're reading it, it's in different places. But not before.
It was that way before.
No.
You know what it is? Is because I'm staying around the area of the couch.
I know.
You don't remember where you put it down every single time.
Yes, I do.
No, you don't.
Well, okay,
You just
there
see
was a
that- you just
vicinity. There was a vicinity.
See, there you go.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
you are correct. You are correct. But it's not like I put it
No.
in the.
And I also, I don't have time for that.
You also don't have time to read it.
I'm trying.
Well, I'll read it to you. How about that? All right, let's get out of here. Oh, by the way, if this episode sounds weird, it's because we're recording on an old school device. Not really old school, but just
Old school for you.
Yeah, old school for us. The expensive ass thing that I bought right around Christmas time decided to stop working as intended. And I had to battle with the manufacturer with the warranty.
Still battling.
Still battling with it. I'm not going to call this product out. I'll call them out if they don't treat me right. So far,
You should do a whole video if they don't treat you right.
yeah,
Honestly.
yeah, because this is an expensive unit,
I know.
and
crazy.
we didn't have it for not even 4 months
No, that's
before
crazy.
it decided to show its shitty side. And yeah, it's cost me almost $70 in shipping in order to get it shipped back to them for them to try to service it and or replace it. So who the hell knows? So I say all that to say, if this sounds different, because I don't know how this is going to turn out after.
Only you're going to notice it anyway.
That is why. That is why that camera can't see me. But let's get out of here. All right. Thank you for rocking with us, people. I hope we didn't bore you to death or offend you with anything that we said today about anything. Yep.
You really feel that way?
What?
You hope you didn't offend people?
Well, you never know. Who knows? I mean, I'm not going to say what you said, but no. I'll clip out anything bad that I said and just keep all your shit in. That way
I know you
would.
would.
Yeah.
You would.
But thank you for rocking with us. This has been another episode of The Feelings First Facts of the Podcast, a podcast where we saying shit, but we ain't saying shit. As always, I go by the name Nathan Mitchell, and I did this with the lovely Cristina.
Bye.
Peace.